rolled handles with vinyl or general cotton fabric, any woven fabric, are pretty easy to make. You don't even need any cording in the inside or interior of the fabric in order for it to remain stiff and pliable, yet at the same time, and to be a gorgeous rolled handle. So in order to get started, you're going to start with the length of your actual strap that you need, and you are going to have 4 inches in height or width for your actual fabric, so you can make it any length that you choose to make it. And we are going to mark the center down the length of this, so 4 inches, half of that is 2, so we're going to mark the center at 2 inches down the length of our fabric piece. Two inches all the way down. All right, so I've made my 2-inch mark, center mark down the length of this piece. You're going to add double-sided tape to this piece, and you're going to do it along the center line that you've made. Look at that, I'm at the end of my double-sided tape. Just barely made it. I may have a non-sticky point right there that I'm going to have to add to. Yep. So start peeling from this end. There we go. And then I need to add a little more double-sided tape to this end since I was at the end of my double-sided tape. Add some there. There we go. Okay, so I have added my double-sided tape. Now, if you choose to not have any raw edges at all, including on your short end for this rolled handle, I encourage you to add a little more double-sided tape just to the short end. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold down the short end by about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Your choice on how you want to do that. I'm going to do it at about 1/8. And you're going to do it to both ends. Tape is sticking to my hand. All right. Gotta roll that down, fold that over about 1/8 of an inch as well, roughly. And if most people that like to mark exactly what 1/8 of an inch is, feel free to go ahead and do so. All right, so now that I folded down my short ends, I'm going to add a little more double-sided tape to help that end stick down and stay, and also so that we can be able to fold to the center easily on the ends. Let me go back to this end. This end didn't want to stay because I didn't have enough double-sided tape. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we are going to start folding to the inside line, but we are not going to fold all the way to the center. We're going to keep about a 1/16 inch gap between both long edges because that helps to take away a lot of the bulk when it comes time to top stitching or sewing this rolled handle together. So as you can see, I'm not folding directly to the end. And since my end is having a hard time sticking, what I'm going to do is clip it. So that way it will stay shut. There we go. And it's okay to go ahead and clip it as you go if you want, because we're going to be clipping it closed anyway. This vinyl does not care for two-sided or double-sided tape. It does not mind it at all. Not obedient to double-sided tape. There we go. And got that in folded. I'm going to clip that one as well. That edge. And then we're going to flip to the other side and fold this one in as well. Again, leaving about a 1/16 of an inch gap between the long edges that are folded in to meet each other. All right, so now that I have both sides folded, you're now going to fold it in half again. So I can unclip that portion and try your best to line up. I'm going to reclip that. Clip as I go. Try your best to line up this edge, the open side, as best as possible. So that way your rolled handle will be extremely neat and have the best outcome. And don't be afraid to use a lot of clips if you need to, if you feel it won't stay folded. Move one of these, kind of adjust it so that way it's not sticking out, the edge is not sticking out at any point, and clip. Perfect. Okay, so you want to grab your ruler and a disappearing pen or chalk at this point, and 3 inches in from each short edge on just the folded side, not the clip side, you are going to make a mark. 3 inches in. So one there. And I'm going to move this down. I'm just going to utilize my table because each box is a square inch. So, 3 inches would be right there. Again, you're making a mark 3 inches in from each short edge, but only on the folded side, not on the open side where you've clipped the edges short, or together, I'm sorry. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this to our sewing machine and we are going to start stitching or sewing from this point, this mark that we've made, down this side, up the short end, all the way around the clip side, down the short end, and stopping at the other 3-inch mark we've made. You're just making a big partial rectangle. So again, you're going to start at the 3-inch mark that you've made on one end, sew all the way around until you get to your other 3-inch mark that you've made and stopped. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'll be back. So as you can see, I have done my top stitching on the strap, starting at the 3-inch mark that I've made all the way around and stopping at the other 3-inch mark that I've made. So now what we're going to do is you're going to do a sample bend, folding end to end, long end to long end, seeing which way allows you to fold the easiest. It allows you to fold the easiest. And it seems like for me, it's this way that allows me to fold the easiest. You are going to start folding at that 3-inch mark that you've made, the long edges together and clipping. You are not going to clip this 3-inch flat part. That is now going to be referred to as our handle connector. Handle and ring connector. So you're going to continue to match these edges up as best as possible. It may take a little extra effort to get them all together. Okay, so I have the edges, the long edge, again, folded in half another time, and they are clipped together. At this point, you may want to take your marker or your chalk and mark the 3-inch point again. And this time you're going to mark it on the outside of the bend and on the stitched side, the already sewn side of the strap. So that'd be about right there for that end. And right there for this end. All right, so I've made my marks again. You are going to take your strap handle and you're going to go back to your sewing machine. You're going to close this rolled strap together. You are going to put your strap underneath your needle with the seam side up, and you're going to stitch directly in the seam you've already made along the strap. So again, it's going to be about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, but make sure to follow as closely as possible the line you've already made or the seam you've already made in the strap. So I have finished adding the final seam to my rolled handle. I have left alone the 3-inch flat portion, our strap connector, or ring connector, and I have sewn again in the initial seam, not making sure to not make any deviation from it as best as possible. So as you can see, perfectly lined up. It looks so professional, even with just vinyl and without any cording in it. Again, this can be done with vinyl. It can be done with any fabric of your choice, and it turns out just as great. All right, so let's talk about how we can now add our rings to this. Generally, when doing a rolled handle, you want to add the rolled handle to the bag before proceeding any further in the bag. Like if you're adding strap connectors or any decoration to the bag, you want to attach the handle first as a rolled handle, because it can be a little difficult depending on how you're attaching it to attach it afterward. So being that we're using this portion of the tutorial with the Bianca, does suggest that you attach the rolled handle to the bag before completing your strap connectors. In fact, it's absolutely necessary for you to do so. So what we want to do is attach our square rings, rectangle rings, whatever you want to call them, to our actual strap or handle, rolled handle. What I like to do is fold it first, fold my end in first, see where I like it to lay, to where it's not, the edges of it aren't so visible on the front side, the right side of the handle. And if I feel like that's in a good position, I try to crease it as much as possible. And as you can see, it's kind of folded or bent. And then I'll mark the halfway point with a dot pin on the right side. And at 3 inches, let's see, I want to measure this a bit. At 3 inches, really, the flat part's at 3 inches. When I fold it to where I want it to be, it's actually almost an inch in width. So I know that the halfway point is going to be a 1/2 inch on this piece. So I'm going to make a mark at a 1/2 inch from the edge on the right side of the strap. about right there. And halfway in between. Center it as best as possible. I'm going to make it with a pin so it shows up somewhat good. You can see it shiny. Okay. I'm going to fold my strap again the way I want it to be folded. And then I'm going to punch a hole. Now, if this is too thick for your hole puncher, what you can do is punch the initial hole and then fold it and use that initial hole to punch it again. But my hole punch is pretty daggone good, so I should not have a problem punching through all these layers. Look at that. Punched all the way through those layers. No issue whatsoever. Great. So now we're going to attach the ring to this strap. So I looped the ring through, and I'm using Chicago screws. Reason being, I love Chicago screws. I love the look of them. It's perfect for this particular print that I'm using in the Bianca bag because it makes it look a little rugged. But additionally, I like it because rivets, even with a press, sometimes don't stay put for me. So this is security that the strap or the handle will not come loose from the bag. All right. So Chicago screw is just that. It's a screw. So you can screw in your pieces as necessary. Uh-oh. I dropped the end. And I need to grab my screwdriver. Hold on. Got it. My little mini screwdriver. Done. Attached. So let's do the other side. Same thing. We know we're going to punch the hole a 1/2 inch from the edge. Make my mark. I'm going to fold it because I know my hole punch can handle it. Fold it to where I'd like it to be. And I'm going to double check with my other end to make sure, you know, I'm kind of eyeballing it. I want to make sure that they are at the same lengths. All right, perfect. And I'm going to hole punch it right there. Make sure it went all the way through. It did. I'm going to add my ring. And then I'm going to add my Chicago screw. And I have a bag of them, so sometimes it's hard to find the right size because there's different sizes in there, all in one bag. And if you'd like to know where I got these Chicago screws from, I got them from Amazon. Amazon doesn't necessarily have a lot of finishes, colors as choices, but they do typically have silver and gold, and probably antique brass as well. But I've gotten silver and gold from Amazon in these nice large bags, and it comes, I think, in 4 different sizes. The length of the post of the Chicago screw is going to be different sizes. They're going to be different lengths. All right. Let me fix this since I knocked into it a little bit ago. So we have our rolled handle all done. And now we'll be able to attach it to our bag.